The 633rd edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL picks and projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 633 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Going out to Golden Pineapple, who's always active in our comments on YouTube. Make sure you become active on our YouTube as well, or at the very least, subscribe MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. Welcome to part 2 of our UFC 305 breakdown. I am the bearded one, Jeff Chalks Fox, and this is all about the pay-per-view portion of the card. Gumby assures us it's a strong pay-per-view. He skipped over the sloppy heavyweight fight, which he's looking forward to anyhow. So.
It's a good look. You don't have to like Tai Tuivasa as a future title challenger. You don't have to like Jairzinho Rozenstruik as a future title challenger. But at one point in time, both of them were on that trajectory.
Yeah.
And you can't say that you don't enjoy watching either of them fight. Like they're both fun to watch fight. Yep. Even if it is a little sloppy.
We love the sloppies, so hopefully it's a sloppy heavy over. So that would be Gumby Vreeland, and we are going to break down this here fight card for you. An Australian heavy fight main card portion, as was the prelims. Not surprising because we are taking this event is taking place in Perth, Western Australia. This coming Saturday, 6 p.m. was the early prelims, 8 p.m. the regular prelims, 10 p.m. the pay-per-view portion, which is what we're covering today. If you want picks for all the other fights, go back one episode. All right, before we jump into it, though, we always have something to tell you about first, and that would be the Boston Show, the Sports Gambling Podcast. They have launched their 32 NFL team previews, and as a added bonus, make sure you don't miss an episode. Each preview includes a code word. Submit 32 code word phrase, and you could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts in the SGPN app, and of course on YouTube. Let's just get right into this, Gumby, shall we? It's a lightweight fight we're going to kick things off with. Mateusz Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. So we got Hooker from Australia, Gamrot from Poland, 3 5-minute rounds. And we shall tell you about the Aussie first. He would be the Hangman, 23-12, 11 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted 3 times, 13-8 in the UFC. He has won 2 straight. Before that, he lost 2 straight. He's not fought since July of 2023. He's not lost since March 2022. Used to fight at featherweight, multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky with it. 2009 pro MMA debut. 9-1-3 as a pro kickboxer and a champion there. 2 inches of height, 5 inches of reach over Gamrot, more active landing strikes than Gamrot, and he has outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.32 strikes per minute. He's at plus 215 on the board. Gamer Gamrot, 24-2 with 1 no contest, 8 knockouts, 5 submissions, never been finished in a fight, 7-2 in the UFC. He's won 3 straight and 7 of 8. He also has multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. One more time. No, 2 more times later on. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky. All that good stuff. Used to fight at featherweight, 2012 pro MMA debut. Grappling champion, better striking stats, better grappling stats, and he has outstruck his UFC opponents barely, 0.02 strikes per minute, minus 250. Give me the gamer, give me Gamrot, give me a wrestle heavy fight here over Hooker.
Yeah, and I want to give, so I'm going to go Gamrot too. I'm going to give Hooker a little bit of credit here because that fight with Jalen Turner did look good. Turner got him down once, but apart from that, he was dazzling on the feet. He looked really good. I know it was a split decision, but like, I don't know who in their right mind. As a matter of fact, I know exactly who in their right mind had Jalen Turner. I'm sure Sherdog did if you go on them.
Adelaide Bird.
Yeah, it's probably Adelaide Bird and Sherdog. Put the intern on that while I talk about Gamrot. But like, Hooker is dealing with a game plan here that is not suited for him to win, right? Like it is Gamrot comes with a pressure. He comes with an intensity. He comes with a relentlessness to his strike or his wrestling that I just don't think that Hooker can match, right? Like, I know he's the kind of guy who can stuff a takedown or two and to try to sprawl and get himself into a brawl, but can he stop 15 takedowns? Can he stop 20 takedowns? Can he stop whatever Gamrot throws at him? And I don't think the answer is yes. Like I find Gamrot's wrestling to be a lot closer to Islam Makhachev's than to Jalen Turner's. I think he's explosive in the way he shoots his takedowns, and being a little shorter, I think is actually going to help him in this fight. I expect a grimy kind of fight from Gamrot here, but I do expect him to win.
David Letheby picked Turner in that fight. Yeah. As did MMA Junkie, Sherdog, and CBS Sports. It never fails.
So we did get one Sherdog guy in there.
Always. All right. We're both agreeing on that pick. We're moving up a weight class to welterweight next. Jingliang Lee, China. Carlos Prates from Brazil. 3 5-minute rounds. And I'm going to tell you about the Leech first. Jingliang, 19-8. 10 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been submitted twice. 11-6 in the UFC. Loss, loss over his last 5. He's not fought since September 2022. He's not won since July 2022. Regional champion, not multiple though. 2007 pro MMA debut. Better striking stats, better grappling stats, more active landing strikes than Prates. And he's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 0.62 strikes per minute. He's at plus 195. The Nightmare, Carlos Prates. 19-6, 14 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted 3 times. 2-0 in the UFC. He's won 9 straight fights, 8 straight via TKO. 1-0 on Contender Series, 2-1 in 1 championship. So he's fighting down here. Used to fight at middleweight, 2012 pro MMA debut, 2-0 in pro kickboxing, 0-1 in pro Muay Thai. Niche height, 7 inches reach, 5 years younger than Jingliang. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 1.14 strikes per minute in Contender Series, and he's at minus 225. So a step up, as you said, for yesterday's episode for Prates.
Yeah, and I think Prates is, you read that number where he's been outstruck. It's the reason why I love him in this fight is that Prates is a guy who downloads information and then uses it to just absolutely end you. And like we saw it in his last fight, right? Like, people were like, oh, I don't know, he's not looking so good. And then bam, he hits him with one. And what was it? Was it Chuck Buffalo he knocked out last time?
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then before that, it was Trevin Giles. It's both those fights, same exact thing. He downloaded the information and then he came with the piece that could put you away. And that's the thing about Prates here. And with Lee being so much shorter and so much less long and so much less comfortable on his feet, I just don't know how he's going to get close enough to Prates here to get anything done. He's a guy who had trouble with the range from time to time with Daniel Rodriguez. And I know Daniel Rodriguez is, a legit opponent. I'm not sitting here, trashing that guy, but like, I think Prates controls range far better than Daniel Rodriguez, who sometimes like gets a little sloppy and mixes it up in a brawling pattern. Like, Prates is a guy who isn't going to brawl you. He's going to pick you apart. And I think he picks apart Li Jingliang really easily here.
Yeah. Prates is the pick here. Download and then probably knockout, right?
Yeah. I think, although Lee is notoriously not a real easy guy to knock out, but I wouldn't be surprised. Listen to this prediction. I'm going to get real specific. I'm going to say knockout with a body shot.
Boy, bet on that, everybody.
Yeah, I don't think there's any lines ever on that. But yeah, I like Prates going to the body here.
All right, very, very good. Let's move on, shall we? Sloppy, heavy over fight, perhaps. Tuivasa from Australia. Jairzinho Rozenstruik from Suriname. 3 5-minute rounds, and they'll need all 15 minutes, hopefully, right? Tuivasa's Bam Bam, 14-7 with 13 knockouts. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted 3 times, 8-7 in the UFC. He was 8-3 at one time. He's lost 4 straight, all via finish. He's not won since February 2022. He was a regional champion, 2012 pro MMA debut, 5-2 in boxing professionally. 5 years younger than Rozenstruik, more active landing strikes than Rozenstruik. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 1.09 strikes per minute. He's at plus 160. Biggie boy Rozenstruik, 14-5 with 13 knockouts. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 8-5 in the UFC. Win over his last 3. 2-3 over his last 5. He won via TKO in his last fight. 2012 pro MMA debut, 76-8-1 as a kickboxer professionally, and a champion. I think that's a partial record as well. He's fought a lot of fights. What else can I tell you about him? Champion of kickboxing, 3 inches reach over Tuivasa, better striking stats, better grappling stats. He's outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.66 strikes per minute, minus 185. Give me Biggie Boy. Probably going to knock him out. You may like the knockout prop on this fight if you want to get a better line on it. But he showed he's got a little bit left still in the tank in his last fight, coming through and waiting. Tuivasa does not have a lot left in his tank. Obviously, he's got the one-touch power. He could always knock out Rozenstruik, but I think it's more likely the other case is going to happen.
Your dog hates that pick.
I know. You like Tuivasa? I'm sorry.
I'm also going to go Bam Bam here, along with your dog.
Really?
So look, in I don't know if you remember this. I was on Rozenstruik. I was sitting there trying to convince you he had something left when I picked him against Gaziev.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if it was his Rozenstruik's fear of the takedown against Gaziev that had him backing up the way he did. But like, he backed up damn near the whole first 2 rounds of that fight with his back up against the cage. He kind of did an all right job fighting his way out against Gaziev's reach, but Gaziev is like, he's got terrible striking, right? Like nobody's out here talking about Gaziev's hands and thinking Gaziev is like this really good striker. He was really outmatched. But like in this fight, I think Tuivasa, if he backs him up just a little bit, if he gets him just ever so slightly close to the cage and gets his opportunity to tee off, I like Tuivasa's ability to do that. And I know, again, he's been knocked out a bunch of times in a row, but like Rozenstruik is also a guy who doesn't necessarily commit to a lot of his early strikes. You know, if you look at that Gaziev fight, right, like he won that fight, he got a TKO, but he got a TKO by like Gaziev not getting off the stool in between the 4th and 5th round. And that's a 5-round fight with a guy who's got like a round and a half of cardio. And so Tuivasa doesn't have to worry about possibly being taken down in this fight. He doesn't have to worry about dealing with, you know, any other aspect of the game, right? It's not even like Rozenstruik wants a clinch. He just wants to fight at boxing range. And if he backs up enough, I don't know, maybe Tai Tuivasa can land one. So give me Tai Tuivasa. I'm going to believe one more time.
Hey, with heavyweight fight with these two guys, anything can happen. The odds probably, I'm not playing minus 185 on Rozenstruik in IRL in real life for sure, because anything can happen in heavyweight fights. All right, Gumby took an underdog, and we were both in on underdog fantasy because underdog fantasy is just introduced underdog streaks. If you probably have heard me talk about it before, if you haven't, here's how it works. Hit your first 2 pick 'em entries and then go streaking. If you can get an 11-0 run going, you can win 1,000 times your money. All those zeros at the end of your winnings. Plus, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. And they just added another college football contest for Best Ball. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Any plays that we should keep our eyes open for coming up, Gumby?
Yeah, Chris Sale should be throwing, if I'm remembering my timeline correctly, he should be throwing tonight. No, he might have thrown yesterday. Anyway, anytime Chris Sale throws, take the higher than on his strikeouts, because last time I told you that, it was set at 6.5, and he struck out 10 in 5 innings. So, yeah, easy money there.
6.5, that is easy money. So sign up with our code MMASGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Nothing better than bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. And some of that bonus cash, take it over to Game Time. Buy yourself some tickets, especially if you're a baseball fan, because Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, but it's not just MLB, UFC, MMA, concerts, they got it all. They got flash deals, they got zone deals, they got all-in pricing, so you don't get surprised when you see how much the bill is when you go to check out. You can check it all out yourself. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's get some more guaranteed winning picks here. It's co-main event time already, and it's a flyweight belt. Kai Kara France from Australia versus another Australian. We got some Australia versus Australia action. You don't see this too often. Former title challenger. He just challenged for the title. Steve Erceg, 3 5-minute rounds, 125 pounds. We will tell you about Kaikara France. Don't blink. He's 24-11 with 1 no contest. 11 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted 3 times. That's my dog rolls on my microphone. Very professional. 7-4 in the UFC. He has lost 2 straight fights and only won 3 of his last 5. It's not fought since June 2023. It's not won since March 2022. 1-1 in the Ultimate Fighter. Used to fight up at bantamweight. Regional champion. 2010 pro MMA debut. An inch of reach over Erceg. Better striking stats than Erceg. Struck his opponents by 1.33 strikes per minute, plus 190. Astro Boy Erceg, 12-2, 2 knockouts, 6 submissions, never been finished in a fight, 3-1 in the UFC, 11-1 over his last 12. Did lose his last fight, which was for the title. Was a regional champion before the UFC. Used to fight at bantamweight, 4 inches taller than Cara France, 2 years younger. Has outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.32 strikes per minute, minus 225. Gumby.
I'm going Erceg. I think he's just the better all-around fighter in this fight, and I think that makes a difference here. Because like, look, anytime we're picking Kai Kara France or on a Kai Kara France side or breaking down a Kai Kara France fight, we're never talking about his well-roundedness, about like why he's so good, right? He does sprawl pretty well. He stays away from takedowns. He doesn't get held down very easily. He stuffed a lot of Amir Albazi's takedowns. He, kind of forced Amir Albazi to take that fight on the feet. Ultimately, he didn't win, but he looked pretty good doing that. But I just don't know that he's going to be able to, first of all, stay on his feet enough against Erceg, and second of all, stay on his feet enough and not get hurt by Erceg on the feet. Because that's the thing with the Albazi fight is he went in there able to stuff Albazi's takedowns because he wasn't worried about getting his clock cleaned. I don't think you have that benefit against Steve Erceg. Erceg, we saw it. He got his title shot basically by having one of the most brutal knockouts that flyweights ever seen. So I think Steven Erceg can hurt him on the feet as long as he threatens him with some of the other stuff. I also will say this. I think the ground game of Erceg showed itself against Pantoja that if he did manage to get the fight to the ground.
You see that?
Yeah, I did. I see you trying to move your microphone.
She pawed the microphone into my lap. What a brat.
You got to hold it now. I think that's her microphone now. But back to my breakdown. I think Erceg showed his chops on the ground are good enough to possibly sub Kai Kara France. I think that's a real possibility. And look, we've seen Kai Kara France subbed before. Now, granted, it was after being tagged in the feet, but it's hard to say that you couldn't envision a tag him and bag him situation, right? Kai Kara France could easily get tagged and bagged the same way he did against Brandon Royval. So with that in mind, and knowing that the game for Erceg is kind of dangerous everywhere, and he looked good in that title fight, I'm going to take Erceg.
Yeah, as am I. Erceg, for all the same reasons, more well-rounded and dangerous everywhere, basically. So Erceg is the pick in the co-main event. Let me tell you about Rhythm before we get to the main event. Football season is here, and the college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that. Or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists. Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RTHMM. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Imagine the regret you'll feel if you win your office Survivor pool but didn't enter the Circa Survivor. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out. You can hang with our bosses, Ryan and Sean, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world, August 22nd through the 24th. Use promo code SGP15 to save 15% on your hotel room for sign-up weekend. Sign up in person at Circuit Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with a proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. All right, main event for the UFC Middleweight Championship. Dricus du Plessis from South Africa. Israel Adesanya from Nigeria and New Zealand. I almost said Australia, but not New Zealand. 5 5-minute rounds in the cage. Champ versus former champ. The former champ, the challenger, Adesanya, is the last style bender, 24-3 with 16 knockouts. He's been knocked out 1 time, 13-3 in the UFC. Twice he was the middleweight champion. Loss over his last 3. Used to fight at light heavyweight briefly. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky with it. 2012 Pro MMA debut. A boxing champ. Kickboxing champ. 3 inches of height. 4 inches of reach over Duplessis. He's outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.82 strikes per minute. He's at -130. Duplessis, the champion, still knocks, is the underdog here. He's 21-2, 9 knockouts, 10 submissions. He knocked out 1 time, submitted 1 time. 7-0 in the UFC, and the champion. He's won 9 straight fights. He's not lost since October 2018. He also has multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Store. No, yeah. Store, shirt, whatever. I'm losing it. I've said it so many times recently. Get the shirt. Check out our store. Get sticky. That's the main takeaway. Used to fight at welterweight. 2013 Pro MMA debut. He was a world champion in kickboxing as a junior when he was a teenager, I believe. 5 years younger than Adesanya. More active landing strikes, better grappling stats, and has outstruck his UFC opponents by 1.72 strikes per minute, +115. Is he any good? We still don't know if Dricus Duplessis is good. Give me Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is good. He occasionally gets caught and knocked out. I don't think that's going to happen here with a smaller fighter in Dricus Duplessis, especially in front of the home crowd. I think Adesanya is going to play it safe like he always does, and he's going to get his belt back.
So first of all, I think Dricus Duplessis is good. I do. I think the Robert Whittaker fight showed that this guy's
that's true.
Real.
That fight did.
I just can't imagine him tagging Israel Adesanya.
No.
It just does not compute in my brain in a way where I think he closes the race. Like, and I said this about trying to find somebody to beat Pereira. In order to beat Alex Pereira, you need to be able to strike like Israel Adesanya. In order, or be the best damn wrestler he's ever seen. In order to beat Israel Adesanya, I kind of think the same thing. You have to be able to box like Pereira, or be the best damn wrestler you ever seen. Now, there is one caveat in there. There's the Sean Strickland exception. And I think that's unmotivated Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to completely discredit Sean Strickland out there, because I'm sure there's tons of Sean Strickland stands losing their damn mind at that comment. But like, that was not the Israel Adesanya who fought Pereira. That was not the Israel Adesanya who knocked out Whittaker. That's not the Israel Adesanya who humped Paulo Costa. Like, that was a much worse version of him. And you know, like, props to Sean Strickland for taking advantage of a guy who is not on his best day. Like, you have to give a guy credit for that. But like, when Israel Adesanya seems to be motivated for a fight, you better be the best damn striker that's ever lived, or at least has ever fought in the UFC. And or you're not going to win, right? Because like, he's gone in there and just absolutely pieced up Robert Whittaker when he's motivated. He's gone in there and made, you know, Paulo Costa look like he had never fought before. You know, he went in there and knocked out Pereira the second time. Like, I just think he is motivated with all of the like bad blood and stuff going on with Dricus. I think he's motivated to get his belt back. I think, you know, there's the Pereira, you know, trilogy fight dangling in the balance. If he does win this one, you could do a champ versus champ Pereira fight. Like, there's too much at stake for him to be unmotivated. I think you see the motivated version of him back. And I think you see an absolute clinic on the feet. So yeah, Israel Adesanya with Dricus trying to pressure, I don't think it's going to work. Remember, that's what Pereira kind of did when he got caught, is like, he tried to out pressure him. And I don't think Dricus is clean enough not to get viciously countered.
Yep. Adesanya is the pick. I'll recap, and then we will get you our fancy plays. We got Adesanya. We got Erceg. He has Tuivasa. I have Rozenstruik. We have Prates. We have Gamrot. All right. Locks, dogs, props, parlays, all that fun stuff. I think I'm first up. Which
yeah, hang on real quick. I'm just pointing. If you're on YouTube, you could already see me pointing at this yellow piece of paper. These are Chalk's. This is his lock and his dog right here.
Okay.
I have him right here. On this,
sometimes he can guess all three.
Yeah.
Lock and my dog. The thing is, I don't even have him picked yet. So
I know, but I still know.
I know he knows how I think. Scary, isn't it? He's inside my mind.
I did debate a second one for the lock, but this is I got it right there.
All right. Give me Adesanya -130 for my lock.
Okay. I'm also going to take Israel Adesanya for my lock. I did dabble with Josh Kolobau, who we talked about on last week's episode. So I want to shout out Josh Kolobau too. but I'm gonna take Israel Adesanya. I think that the margin here is, especially with a line at only -130, is too good.
I don't have a heck of a lot of dogs to go with. Female dogs aren't coming through too much this year, so that eliminates the one, and I want to stay away from the heavyweight one because anything can happen there. I guess that leaves the fight you talked me into, Ricky Glenn at plus 195. You have that one too?
I missed. I had Izzy and O'Neal.
I was going to take O'Neal, but women's dogs are risky sometimes. So
I was close. I'm also going to go Ricky Glenn. We'll team ride here on our locks and dogs here. I think I really think Song Kenan is just being overrated in this fight more or less than Ricky being underrated. Hey guys, what's up? It's time for another visit from Future Gumby here. As you guys know, we taped these episodes a little bit ahead of time. The props market had not really come out at the time when we were putting this out. So we wanted to make sure to give you our favorite props from a wide selection. So I'll give you Jeff's first. Jeff phoned his in to me. He's got Israel Adesanya by decision plus 240. He says that he thinks that Israel Adesanya is going to play a little bit more of a safe fight, and he should be able to outpoint Dricus to Plessis. So once again, you're getting plus 240 on that. I, on the other hand, like a finish here. I like Josh Kolobau inside the distance. Originally, I was thinking about possibly playing his submission line because Ricardo Ramos has walked himself into 2 straight submissions. That Kolobau subline is plus 800 too. Very juicy. But eventually I talked myself down to just inside the distance because his hands are good too. And if he gets it done there, you can get plus 165 with either of those finishes. So once again, that's Jeff likes Israel Adesanya by decision. I like Josh Kolobau inside the distance, plus 240 and plus 165 respectively. And on the Hungry Man Jong Superfan Parlay, which those of you who are new to the show, you might not know, we always do a 2-fight parlay that'll get you 10 times your money if it hits. I'm going to go with finishes there too. I like Stuart Nickel in the opening fight. I think he gets it done inside the distance. Originally, I was, playing around with trying to get cute with the knockout or the subline and trying to figure which one I wanted. And then, they posted inside the distance at plus 200, which I think is a steal right there. That gets you covered in case he gets the ground and pound finish or if he gets the rear naked choke. So I like Stuart Nickel inside the distance. And I'm going to stick with inside the distance props. I also like Steven Erceg to get the job done inside the 15 minutes. Look, I know Kai Kara France is tough and he's stuffed takedowns before, but I don't think he's ever had to stuff takedowns from a guy who's got hands like Steven Erceg, right? Erceg can make him afraid on the feet and then sub him. Heck, he could club him and sub him similarly to the way that Raw Dog did. So I like him to either get it done with that sub or, hey, who knows? Maybe he does catch him with that big blow. Inside the distance for Steven Erceg, plus 275. So you pair that with the inside the distance from Stuart Nickel, and you're going to get plus 1025. So those are our official prop plays, and I'm going to kick it back to Jeff to finish off the show.
So there you have it. You are all set now for UFC 305. We'll be back. No, I probably won't be back. I'll be on vacation. Gumby will be back. Who knows what Gumby will bring?
I'm working on a co-host. I'm working on one. Yeah, I don't know who it's gonna be yet, but I'll find somebody. Somebody will come.
You don't necessarily need one. Scott Reichel does like solo tennis ones, so you could just give out picks. People. You could put like a fake person. You could put like an AI person. You could put like a dummy. You could put anything.
Me talking to like Google AI.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I bring. So Gumby will be back with another week full of picks. Of course, you can find us in the Discord, sportsgamblingpockets.com/Discord. You can find us on Twitter at SGPN MMA. He's Gumby Vreeland. I'm Jeff Fox Writer. The same handle on Instagram. Get in my Substack, enter my pick'em contest. Check out my writing at moneymma.substack.com. Check out Gumby's Top Turtle MMA podcast. He always has exciting podcasts. This week, he's got 2 Aussies on it.
Yeah, so we got the Aussie event here in Perth. So I got Cody Hedone and Sean Gauchi, who will both be on Contender Series this fall.
There you go. Or Contender Series heavy podcast, as per usual. Of course, we can be found. YouTube. Remind you once again, smash that subscribe button on YouTube. And of course, sportsgamblingpockets.com, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store, sportsgamblingpockets.com/Patreon is where you can find all of us. And like I said, I'll be back eventually. Gumby will be back sooner than me. Still Knox Jeff says adios. Astro Boy Gumby says he'll see you soon. Bye-bye.